The biggest change that Tiger's made is he's really tried to get his hands in front of himself coming down. In other words, arms in front of the body. But the old swimmer used to get stuck.
The old ladies way?
Yes.
And that's just because of a product of being a junior golfer. All junior golfers fire their hips hard, get the club stuck from the inside so they can flip it. Hit the ball long ways. Yeah, you hit the ball long ways, but it's hard to control. It's really hard to hit the ball a specific distance with the correct shape.
He just felt as he transferred his weight, his arms would fall down in front of him.
For me, what I try to feel that my arms beat my body down. I try and feel like my arms come down first and exit through the ball first and my hips don't move. It doesn't even come close to that. Obviously, I'm more like this at impact. But for me, it feels like, obviously, my arms are winning the race and my body's not popping out of the golf shot.
And this imperious strike brought another. Tiger was 7 under.
A lot of people out there teach that the hips drive the golf swing. It really doesn't work that way. We don't have a magical muscle that goes from our ankle all the way to our arm and that can move the golf club. So a better sequence is actually going to be, once we get up to the top of our swing, get the arms to work down first, and then from there, now we drive through with the body. So you can see it's a totally different concept of working those arms down here and then driving up and through the shot.
Then again, there's that feel versus real. And a lot of times, you know, we've had people come to us, and all of us as instructors, and they go, you know, what do you want to do? And they go, well, I don't hit it anywhere. All I do is swing with my arms. And whenever they say that, I know it's the exact opposite. I know what they're doing is they're actually swinging with all body, but they think it's all arms. So they have this opposite, actually, concept of what it is that their problem is. There's cause and effect. And I you know, again, I use lots of analogies and everything, but it's like dominoes all lined up, and one falls against the other. And if you're working on something in your golf swing that's way down the list, but there's other dominoes in front of it that are down, you're working out of sequence, you're working out of order, you're not going to get results. I can create dramatic and impressive club head speed without the rotation aspects of the body. Your body is strong, and it is powerful, meaning you can knock things over and you can lift things, and it's powerful. But it's not quick in a quarter of a second.
Most golfers, and on the other hand, are trying to use their strength and their body to create this speed, as opposed to letting their arms and hands accelerate. And you make a good backswing, you should be trying to accelerate the club head as fast as you can, or your arms and hands as fast as you can to the ball.
Here's the first thing I do. Go ahead and set up. And we're going to take it to the top.
Yep.
And then I tell them this. I said, look, here's 5 or 6 of the best players in the world describing the downswing.
Okay.
All right? Al Geiberger, I feel like I'm ringing a bell.
Okay.
Ben Hogan, I feel like I'm pulling an arrow out of the quiver. Davis Love III, my dad taught me to pound a stake into the ground. Sergio Garcia, my dad taught me to pull on a chain with both hands. And Nicholas said, I feel like I have to get to the ball before the buttons in my shirt get there.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so that's the feeling, right. That moves this weights, that moves this weights.
But power connotates, this is powerful.
Yes.
And this isn't where club head speed comes from. Here's the irony, is the armsy, handsy feel comes from the hips being overactive early in the swing incorrectly, and the arms and hands being too passive and working in the wrong direction in the backswing. Club head speed on the PGA Tour average is 113.
Yeah.
Club head speed average on the LPGA Tour is 94. Around, you know, it depends on who got the stats.
Right.
But it's right around that. So we'll say, let's round up. We'll call it 115 and 95.
Okay.
So 20 miles an hour difference depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
Well, average hip speed on the LPGA Tour is higher. So what does that tell you about?
We're not talking percentage-wise. We're talking the gross number, the actual number.
Average hip speed on the LPGA Tour is higher. Yeah, absolutely.
When you think about the drive that won the World Long Drive Championship for you, and what you were feeling in that moment, but more just in that period of time.
I can tell you what I was feeling in the moment.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, which goes against everything everybody's ever been told. I tried to stay behind the ball, which, you know, that makes some sense. I tried to dump this right wrist angle as fast as I could from the top. Yes, the hips play their role, but it's not where the speed comes from.
Because you're going so fast and you're having to offset these forces, the timing and the feel for what you're doing with the club aren't even close to what you see in pictures. Pictures are effects. They're not wrong, but they're effects. What's causing those positions to show up? That's probably the biggest thing I've learned in my career, is that the pictures aren't wrong, but they lead us to make some really, really bad assumptions.
In slow motion, it looks like the lower body goes first and is torquing hard. What are we missing when we watch a slow motion video of a golfer?
You're missing the neuromechanics, the activation underneath the skin, how the brain is working to coordinate, to piece those segments together. The body is not a whip.
Right.
It's not a loose chain. It has to be coordinated. So I need muscle activation in order to move this. I can move my hips all I want, and yeah, there's some momentum carried to my arms. You can see my arms moving.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So that's the research that we're doing, is looking at that neuromuscular activation. So what we don't see is that there's activation here, there's intent. How can we measure intent? How can we measure anticipation? Very difficult to do, but we can do that through EMG, and that's what we hope to find.